There will be questions that will be inadequately prosecuted on the floor, and the discretion of the Speaker may direct them back to committees for further inquiry and investigations. There may also be questions which, in the opinion of Mr. Speaker and on the advice of the clerk, may require in-depth investigations and may be sent directly to committees. But I also know that question time is the sweetest time for members of parliament in the plenary. So every member who files a question, I'll give you your day. If it's inadequately answered, I'll send you to prosecute it in the committee, as has been done in the past. So I think that would satisfy you for now. Majority Leader, if you will have any additional information when we resume, I'll give you an opportunity to make a statement, because all this will be coming via your office. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Before the Majority Leader presents the papers, honorable members have been asked by the Honorable Dr. Nyikal to remind you that when you eulogized the doyen of feminist politics in Kenya, the Honorable Grace Onyango, we indicated that you may exercise your generosity at your own discretion, but it is good to do so, to do some form of check-off to support the family. I've been requested to remind you that the funeral of the late is this Saturday, and those of you who would wish to do so, I will direct the whips on both sides to speak to you, and you can sign off whatever you can to support the family. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. 1, report of the Auditor General and financial statements on forensic audit on procurement and use of heavy fuel oils for the period covered 1st July 2018 to 30th June 2021 by the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, PLC. 2, report on the performance of the special groups, youth, women, and persons with disability from Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. 3, report of the Auditor General on the following financial statements in respect of the institutions listed for the year ended 30th June 2022. Kenya Electricity Expansion Project, OFID, credit number 1487P, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. 2, Power Transmission System Improvement Project, ADF loan, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. 3, Petroleum Development Levy Fund, Ministry of Petroleum and Mining. 4, Arusha, Holili, Taveta, Voi Road. 5, Merile, Marsabit Road Rehabilitation Project, KE/001/09, loan agreement number KE-FED 2009-021-655, Kenya National Highways Authority. F is Study and Capacity Building Fund Project, grant numbers CKE 601501K, CKE 104301F, and CKE 104701K, the National Treasury. G, upgrading of Gilgil Machinery Road Project, Kenya Rural Roads Authority. H, multinational Kenya section of interconnection project of electricity grids of Nile, Equatorial Lakes countries, ADF loan, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. I, Eastern Electricity Highway Project, IDA credit number 5148-KE, AFD loan number CKE 103001B, and ADF loan, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. J, Bogoria, Silali, Geothermal Project, Geothermal Development Company. K, Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project for underserved counties, IDA credit number 6135-KE, Ministry of Energy. I, National Treasury Capacity Strengthening Project, ID number PKE K00-00011, the National Treasury. M, National Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project, IDA credit number 5900KE, State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research. And Small Scale Irrigation and Value Addition Project, ADF loan, State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research. O, Kenya Marine Fisheries and Socio-Economic Development Project, IDA credit number 65400-KE, State Department for Fisheries, Aquaculture and the Blue Economy. P, Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project, credit number 58120-KE, State Department for Labor. Q, Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project, IDA credit number 5812-KE, National Industrial Training Authority. R, 220 kV and 132 kV transmission lines and substations, Exim Bank of India funded projects, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. S is a capacity development project for enhancement of rice production in irrigation schemes in Kenya under the State Department of Crop Development and Agricultural Research. T, Kenya Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat. U, Judicial Performance Improvement Project, IDA credit number 5181KE, the Judiciary. Next is Youth Empowerment Program Grant, credit number B4210, State Department for Youth Affairs. Strengthening Fertilizer Quality and Regulatory Standards in Kenya Project, Agro Grant number 2013, SHP 001, State Department of Crop Development and Agricultural Research. And next is the Kenya Citizens and Foreign Nationals Management Service. Second last is the Kenya Development Solar Power Plant in Garissa Project, GCL number 201510, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. And finally, the Regional Pastoral Livelihood Resilience Project, IDA credit number 53880KE, under the State Department for Livestock. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Majority Leader, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Report of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the National Transport and Safety Authority Amendment Bill number 43 of 2022. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Labor, Karemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the inquiry regarding sexual harassment of female workers in tea estates in Kericho County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Before we go to the next order, honorable members, allow me to welcome in the public gallery Acacia Green Primary School from Kabete in Kiambu. On your behalf and on my own behalf, I welcome the school to the House of Parliament. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Karemba Njiru, Chair, Departmental Committee on Labor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to give a notice of motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion.
I wish to give notice of the following motion.
That this House adopts the reports of the Departmental Committee on the inquiry regarding sexual harassment of female workers in tea estates in Kericho County, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Question number 1-8, Member for Machakos County, Joyce Kamene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. in pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 42A 5, I wish to ask the following question, 018/2023, to the Cabinet Secretary of Roads and Transport. What measures has the ministry put in place to provide for pedestrian footbridges along an approximately 2-kilometer stretch of Mombasa Road, especially the crossing at Hilton Garden Inn and the Syokimau Railway Station / Nairobi SGR terminus, and the stretch between Kappa Industries and the Mastermind? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, you will note that questions being asked today are the first batch that will be transmitted to Cabinet Secretaries to answer when we resume after the short recess. Question 069, Member for Elgeyo Marakwet, Honorable Caroline Ngeleche.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the question number 069 of 2023 to Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Could the Cabinet Secretary, 1, explain the rationale behind the ban on maize cultivation in plantation establishment and livelihood improvement scheme, popularly known as PELIS areas? Number 2, explain why there is a massive decrease in forest cover percentage in Elgeyo Marakwet County despite the ban on maize cultivation under the PELIS system. 3, explain the pros and cons of maize cultivation under the PELIS system and clarify whether the area residents can revert to the initial maize cultivation in PELIS areas. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Your question will be answered after recess by the Minister for Environment, Forestry and Mining. I thought mining majority leader is with Blue Economy. Is it with the Environment and Forestry? Is with the majority leader? Is mining with Blue Economy or with forests? With forests. Okay. I thought. Question 070, Member for Lunga Lunga, Chief Foromondo Mangale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 42A 5, I rise to ask question number 070 of 2023. Could the Cabinet Secretary expound on the status of approval of payment of hardship allowance to teachers and public servants in Lunga Lunga sub-county, given the extreme working condition in the area? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. That will go to the Minister of Labor. Question 071, Member for Kaiti, Joshua Kimilu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to ask question 071/2023. Mr. Speaker, considering that the government of Kenya is the largest shareholder in Safaricom, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the company has not been paying residues to its dealers according to the contractual terms, as it is the case for non-payment of dues for the period from January 2023 to date? 2, what steps is the government taking to ensure that Safaricom provides its employees with a conducive working environment that is compliant with fair labor practices, including checking on sudden changes of working station without adequate notice, which is disruptive? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kimilu. The question will be answered by the Minister for Communication, Information and Innovation. Question 072, Member Forongo, Paul Abur. Member Forongo, Paul Abur. Question dropped. Next question, question 073, Member for Teso South, Mary Emase. Mary Emase, no information about her presence. Question dropped. Question 074, Member for Gilgil, Mother Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the question number 74 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. Number one, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why there is a shortage of birth registration materials, also known as B1 forms, in health facilities across the country? Number two, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why mothers in public hospitals, especially those on the national government Linda Mama program, are being subjected to unnecessary detention after discharge as a result of unregistered births of their babies due to the above-mentioned shortage, yet it is the duty of the government to provide the B1 forms? And number three, what steps has the ministry taken to ameliorate the situation and ensure that mothers who are due for discharge are not forced to incur additional bills due to unjust detention in hospitals owing to the government's incapacity to promptly register births as a result of lack of birth registration forms? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Wangari. Sorry, Honorable Members, the clerk informs me the Honorable Member Forongo had actually sent an apology that he's unable to attend the House today. So the Chair rescinds the dropping of his question and schedules it to the first sitting day when we resume. Next question, question 075, Member for Kabuchai, Majimbo Kalasinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could the Commission explain why the payments to presiding officers, deputy presiding officers, and clerks that oversaw the Bungoma by-election for the senatorial seat in December 2022, Mr. Speaker, have been laid up to date? What plans does the Commission have to compensate these presiding officers, deputy presiding officers, and clerks, Mr. Speaker, whose payments are long overdue, given the high cost of living, Mr. Speaker? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Your question will be forwarded to the Jailer Committee for answering. Honorable members, that's the end of question time. Next order. There is none. Oh, the normal Thursday statement by the majority leader. You've not put on the order paper.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 44-2A, to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 21st March 2023, to prioritize the business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, allow me to commend the leadership of the House on both sides and members for the dedication and cooperation exhibited in the session so far. Indeed, we have certainly set a good pace and met the statutory timelines in respect of all matters that were before the House in this first part of this session. That includes the budget policy statement and the debt management strategy paper approval. We are now due for a short break commencing after today's session, going by our calendar of regular sittings. Honorable Speaker, members will recall that on Tuesday, this House resolved to alter its calendar for the second session, regular sessions, by varying the period for the short recess so that it commences tomorrow, Friday, 24th March 2023, and ends on Monday, 10th April 2023, which is Easter Monday. The break will therefore be 2 weeks instead of 1 week. The House is scheduled to resume its regular sittings on Tuesday, 11th April 2023 at 2:30 p.m. to continue with the first part of the session. Honorable Speaker, the House still awaits reports on various items of business. This period gives committees ample time to expedite their pending business and finalize their reports on bills, treaties, approval hearings, inquiries, and responses to statements, which will be brought to the House upon resumption. Honorable Speaker, upon resumption, the House will continue with debate on the reports of the 144th and 145th Assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union, the general debate on proposals to amend the Constitution and the standing orders, and the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill 2022, should they not be concluded today. Further, the House is also expected to begin debate on the ratification of the African Union Treaty for the establishment of the African Medicines Agency, AMA, and ratification of the agreement between Kenya and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland on defense cooperation. The House Business Committee shall reconvene on Tuesday, 11th April 2023 to schedule the business for the rest of the week. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I want to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters in the House Ramadan Mubarak as we begin observance of the holy month of Ramadan today, and indeed to all our Muslim brothers around the country. I also note that the Easter holiday falls during the recess period. Therefore, on behalf of the House Business Committee, and indeed the great people of Kikuyu constituency, myself, I wish members a happy Easter and a restful recess period as they spend time with their families and also discharge their constituency obligations. Besides, Honorable Speaker, noting that these 2 weeks will be a working recess for the committees to complete on the work that they will otherwise not be able to do during normal regular sittings. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House, Honorable Speaker. And as I said, wish all members a happy Easter and Ramadan Mubarak for our Muslim brothers and sisters, and remind members, Honorable Speaker, that this 2 weeks recess is a short working recess for us to be able to complete on many of the reports that committees will not be able to conclude when there are regular sittings. And when we resume after the short recess of 2 weeks, immediately after Easter, we'll expect that the annual estimates will be coming towards the end of that month, and therefore the House will be very busy. So also take your time to engage with your constituents and your families during this short recess, even as you take time in your committees, spend a little more time with your families, because the session after will be very busy. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, extension of period of consideration of a legislative proposal to amend the Constitution.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise on standing order number 85 on anticipating debates. And Honorable Speaker, no, we are a house of procedures and rules. Honorable Speaker, there are two rather minor issues that I have noted that are good to appraise members on, just for the good of housekeeping. One, Honorable Speaker, is on anticipation of debate, because I did note yesterday, as much as I am here to get the bill on the privatization bill, I did notice the leader of minority and a number of members addressing media within the precincts of Parliament on a bill that has only been reported in the media to have been sent to the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, maybe it would be good to guide all our members, because some of these small things may mislead our new members that it is right and okay to anticipate debate of bills that are before the House or those that are scheduled. In fact, any bill that is gazetted, if you read the standing order, Honorable Speaker, it says it shall be out of order to anticipate the debate of a bill which has been published as such in the Gazette by discussion upon a substantive motion or an amendment, or by raising the subject matter of the bill upon a motion for the adjournment of the House. And Honorable Speaker, maybe just for guidance, to guide, and I know the leader of minority who is not here, but the leader of minority emeritus, the Honorable John Buddy, is sitting here. Maybe he could guide the leader of minority and members within their coalition. As much as they may be very eager to incite members of the public and the country on what is bound to come before the House, it is only right that as members of parliament, since we have the opportunity to interrogate whatever proposals come to us from the executive in form of a bill, we have the opportunity on this floor to challenge what has, or support, or challenge, or oppose, and even decide on what to do with whatever proposal comes to the House. I therefore found it quite out of order, Honorable Speaker, that it is the House leadership that is now leading other members to anticipate debate of bills that are already published. Two, Honorable Speaker, because that bill was only reported in the media to have been approved by the Cabinet, and that is under the assumption that it is already gazetted. Two, Honorable Speaker, I have noticed, because of the constraint with our committee rooms, and that's why I said it is good for committees to make use of this short recess to schedule their meetings even at a time when the House would otherwise be sitting, so that they utilize rooms within the precincts of Parliament. But, Honorable Speaker, is also worth noting that when a committee sits outside the precincts of Parliament, that committee room becomes an extension of either our committee rooms within the precincts of Parliament or even this chamber. And I have noticed, Honorable Speaker, as I said, minor things like the mode of dressing that members appear before those committees, and especially in committees where they have invited witnesses and other people from outside Parliament. And I've noticed especially, I will not name which particular committee, but members appearing in committees, some chairing those committees without their jackets, and some even rolling up their sleeves. And Honorable Speaker, I think we need to restore the dignity of committees, whether they sit within the precincts of Parliament or outside. I therefore beg that you also do advise all our chairs and our vice chairs or any other member who may be designated by the chair of the vice chair to chair a committee on their behalf. Whether you are sitting in a hotel around town or in one of the other government institutions where parliamentary committees are accommodated, we should carry out ourselves with the dignity that we do when we appear in plenary and also in committees, including the mode of dressing, Honorable Speaker. I've seen some also removing their shoes in those well-carpeted rooms, Honorable Speaker. And because we have a number of many new members and young ones, and I know the weather has not been very kind, but that is why Parliament spends money to ensure that you sit in committee rooms that are very well ventilated and air-conditioned. Therefore, don't get tempted to remove your jacket or to roll up your sleeves, or at times even to remove your shoes. I don't know for what reason, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Bundy. Honorable John Buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For clarity, I'm not speaking for the minority leader, but I'm speaking as a senior member of the minority side. But, Mr. Speaker, I wanted just to make some quick comments on the point of order raised by majority leader. On the second one, in terms of mode of dressing, I agree entirely, Mr. Speaker, because our committees are extension of Parliament or plenary, and we must just dress appropriately. I think there is already a communication to that effect from the Speaker, and I think there is nothing really new, Mr. Speaker. For example, in my committee, which I chair, no one comes who is not dressed formally. I don't allow any member to sit in Public Accounts Committee when we are transacting business, even whether it is in-house, without dressing appropriately. You must be in a tie, you must be in a suit, except to Tiende Amolo, who dresses in a manner that the Speaker allowed, but I'm not very comfortable with. But since the Speaker allowed it in the chamber, I also allow it in the committee. But, Mr. Speaker, indeed, Mas Barasa. But, Mr. Speaker, on the first point of order that Honorable Kimani Chungwa raised as a majority leader regarding anticipating debates under Standing Order 85. Mr. Speaker, this is one of those provisions in our standing orders that have been there for, let me call it, donkey years. I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, you have been in this House longer than many of us, if not all of us, and it has been there. And really, it talks about published bills. I am not aware that there is any bill on privatization which has been published. I guess the comments that came from those political leaders came as a result of what was reported to have come out of cabinet sitting. And so we expect Kenyans to comment when there is a report coming from cabinet meeting. This is our cabinet. And I would say, as a matter of fact, that the people of Kenya have to hold their cabinet accountable. So anything that comes from the cabinet must be questioned, must be criticized if there is need to criticize it. But finally, Mr. Speaker, I think we also need to look at this standing order properly. It has not been amended, but I think it is high time it is amended. The reason why I say so, it is contradicting our constitution, which allows public engagement with legislative agenda before the House. We need public participation. There is no way I would engage in public participation without talking about the bill with the public. So I think these were some of the provisions in our standing orders which have been there before the constitutional amendment of 2010 or the repeal of our constitution. These are some of the things that we need to change. Look at other jurisdictions. They discuss legislative agenda which is before the House everywhere. We are called to the media houses, Mr. Speaker. Today, if budget is brought here, appropriation bill is brought here, I will be invited by Citizen Media, Radio, TV. I would go to the NTV to discuss it as an expert in matters finance, and I'm a member of this House. How do I behave? Will I be accused of anticipating debate? So I think, Mr. Speaker, our committee, which deals with proposed amendments to our standing orders, may need to look at that particular standing order and probably find it to be behind our times and amend it so that we are allowed, whether you're a member of parliament, a public, a fisherman along the shores of Lake Victoria, you need to discuss legislative agenda before the House. And I'm sure Honorable Chepkonga agrees with me on this, as a renowned lawyer in this country, that there is no way we can engage in discussing legislative agenda with the public without discussing it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chepkonga, Honorable Chepkonga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable John Badi has spoken very well, and he has in fact admitted that all the comments that he has made is made as a layman, not as a lawyer, commenting on the standing orders. The only exception, Mr. Speaker, is that he's a lawmaker. He cannot appear to say that the standing order that has been referred by the majority leader is not applicable. Neither is it outdated. The standing orders have been amended from time to time. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the majority leader that, in fact, when I've been seeing comments people have been making in the press outside Parliament here, and I've just been asking myself, where is this bill which has not been given to us? Mr. Speaker, I think it is important that when you are a member of Parliament, do not anticipate debate. You have your time to come and debate over that bill. In fact, a bill is just a bill, Mr. Speaker. That's what it means in plain English. It does not mean it is the law. So you don't even demonstrate against a bill. Because once it comes to this House, we can even reject it. Mr. Speaker, I have been tabling here regulations that have been published. In fact, some ministries have been using them. But we have annulled them in their entirety, Mr. Speaker. So there is nothing this House cannot do, particularly with a bill, Mr. Speaker. Something that has just been published, it is an intention of the government that that bill be passed. But it is incumbent upon us as members of Parliament to decide. Mr. Speaker, on the second limb, on the dressing, Mr. Speaker, I know that all committees, and particularly the chairs, are an extension of the Speaker. Yes. So I think it is important and pertinent for the chairs to rule when a member has come in a manner that is not properly dressed. Just like when we go to court, Mr. Speaker. If you are not well robed, you will be thrown out. And Mr. Speaker, we expect chairs to throw out members who are not properly dressed, particularly those who come sometimes with open shoes. They come with their shirts and their ties, and they are open up to the chest here. Mr. Speaker, those ones should be thrown out to go and dress properly. So we expect chairs to administer the standing orders of the House. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, as Honorable Chepkonga has rightly said, buttressing what the majority and Honorable Badi said, committees, wherever you sit, even if you are sitting on the moon, you are an extension of this chamber. Rules of etiquette, dress code, and all conduct expected of you under the standing orders extend to the committees. And the chairman of committees, you have a duty to ensure observance of the rules of etiquette, dress code, and the conduct of members and the witnesses who appear before your committees. Of course, the chair will only get to know when you bring to our attention that a certain chairman is lax and is not observing the etiquette expected of the conduct in a committee, in which case then the chair will take the necessary steps to correct the situation. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, extension of a period of consideration of a legislative proposal to amend the Constitution.
The chairperson joined Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee on proposal to amend the Constitution to entrench certain specialized funds.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am the chair. It's only not indicated in the order paper. The Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the following motion. That in furtherance to the resolution of the House of the 24th of November 2022 on the establishment of a joint parliamentary ad hoc committee on a proposal to amend the Constitution to entrench certain specialized funds, namely NGCDF, Senate Oversight Fund, and NGAAF. This House further resolves to extend the timeline for the consideration of the proposals by a period of 90 days from Tuesday, 11 April 2023. That is the day we resume from our recess. Madam Speaker, the import of this motion is to seek to enlarge time within which those particular specialized funds would be considered. We had assumed that we would be able to complete those proposals within the 90 days. Unfortunately, they became a little bit complex because of the process and the negotiations therein. So, Madam Speaker, we are therefore seeking an extension of time by a further 90 days to enable the Joint Ad Hoc Committee, which is a committee composed of the National Assembly and the Senate, to conclude discussions and come up with the relevant constitutional amendment bills to entrench into the Constitution those bills that we think have had some issues, particularly with some Kenyans outside this House. And so, Madam Speaker, I move and seek that members support this, and I would like to request the Honorable Stephen Mule to second. I thank you.
Please proceed to second the motion.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to urge members to agree with the chair of the Joint Committee. Madam Speaker, we thought that we'll be able to get this moving and finish the work which is expected of us within the time. But when we met yesterday, we realized that we still need more time, Madam Speaker, to ensure that we do the best of this bill and carry everybody on board to make sure that at least for the first time, Parliament will be able to amend the Constitution without going to referendum. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge members that as we go on recess, we want to make a kind request to all members of single constituency, women reps, to see whether they can meet with the public and make public participation towards this amendment to the Constitution and give us a report once they come back from recess to enable us to shorten the time and move forward. Because you know very well, Madam Speaker, when the bill will be read the first time, for us to go to second reading, we still need 90 days. And I believe if we work together as a team and each constituency does public participation regarding this together with their CDF chairman, we'll be able to have close the door of public participation in a shorter time than we expect, Madam Speaker. So I want to urge members, those who are in the chamber and those who are outside the chamber, as you go on recess, you kindly request if you can make that provision to do public participation and give us a report as we come back after recess, and we'll be able to move this forward to finalize the amendment of this Constitution. I support.
Your second?
I second, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mule. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that in furtherance to the resolution of the House of the 24th November 2022 on the establishment of a joint parliamentary ad hoc committee on proposal to amend the Constitution to entrench certain specified funds, NGCDF, Senate Oversight Fund, and GAV. This House further resolves to extend the timeline for the consideration of the proposal by a period of 90 days from Tuesday, 11th April 2023. Honorable members, it is the mood of the House. Is it the mood of the House that I go ahead and put the question? Honorable members, I see some interest on this subject, and I would like to give a few opportunities. This is a very important subject, so I would like to give an opportunity to a few members to make comments. Honorable members, those who have interest to contribute on this, please press your intervention button. I will give the first opportunity to the Minority Whip, the Honorable Owen Bayer. Majority. I would like to take that again. It is extremely important that mistake cannot be made, especially from this seat. The first opportunity goes to the Majority Whip, the Honorable Owen Bayer. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I would like to support this motion on the procedural motion. Yeah. That it's important that we still take our time as a House.
The Honorable Owen Bayer, yeah.
Correct.
Is the Deputy
Majority
Leader.
Yes.
In the National Assembly.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Okay. So, Madam Speaker, it's important that we continue to gather information on this motion so that we involve everybody, do a lot of public participation, so that as we come to this chamber, we are able to say what Kenyans have said. I think one of the fundamental principles of this Constitution is that public participation is core at everything that we do. So, Madam Speaker, I would like to support this and urge other members to support so that we give more time before we come for the debate. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well, Honorable Bayer. Honorable members, the next opportunity goes to the Honorable John Buddy, nominated member.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, I also want to support the request by this joint committee to extend time, to allow them more time to look at this matter. Madam Speaker, constitutional amendment is a weighty issue, And this is probably going to be the first successful constitutional amendment in this country from 2010, when we enacted the present constitution. And therefore, we need to get it right. And the funds that we need to entrench in the constitution are very important funds for this country. The National Affirmative Action Fund, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and the National Government Constituency Development Fund are two important funds that have made a difference in the lives of Kenyans, and we need, when we are entrenching it, we need to make sure that there is no loophole. And so this committee needs more time to tighten and bring a comprehensive constitutional amendment touching on these funds to this House. And therefore, I agree, Madam Speaker, that they need more time. And this time, please make sure that the 90 days is sufficient for you as a committee, because, again, the longer we take in entrenching these funds, the more we expose these funds to possible court action, which may be at the detriment of the people of Kenya. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Bandi. The Honorable Joseph Emathe, member for Turkana Central.
Madam Speaker, I want to submit that as much as we'll need to support the motion as moved, and I want to thank you too for allowing us to ventilate on this motion. One, as a first-time MP, a first-time member in this House, it is very, very discouraging, I will say, that the manner in which CDF is performing, the NGCDF is performing, is not pleasing at all, Madam Speaker. And even GAV, as at now, we are at 31% having received out of the allocation that we are required to receive. We are now in quarter 3, quarter 4. We are only remaining with 3 months to the completion of the financial year. We may understand there are issues there and there, but I thought even 50% disbursement will help us. And I've just heard the motion mover saying that we go and do public participation during the recess period. The question is, from which coffers are we going to do public participation? Do we have funds in our bank accounts to do public participation? Yes, the 90 days period that has been granted is okay for the lawmaking process to take place as it is required, but it is important for us to discuss why are we stalling in disbursement of funds? And if so, what could be the problem? Even as we discuss about these funds to constituencies. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, member for Mbeere North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The National Government Constituency Development Fund is an extremely important fund which has implemented quite a number of projects, especially in education and in security, Madam Speaker, and also in supporting young people in terms of talent development. When it comes to constitutional amendment to ensure this fund is well guarded and entrenched in the sovereign law of this country, it is important for the committee or the liaison committee which is considering these amendments to also ensure that it's not only anchoring it in the Constitution, but also to increase the allocation so that the impact of this fund can be felt across this country, and most probably we can also increase the areas where the national government CDF fund can implement projects in. We know the problems we are having in this country as far as water is concerned. Also, as far as irrigation projects is concerned, we can only change the rise of this country if we work on education, we work on water, we work on security, and also on the health sector. So it is important to increase the allocation in this fund, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, and the 90 days given to this liaison committee, joint ad hoc committee, I think they are important for this House to have a holistic entrenchment of this fund in our Constitution. Madam Speaker, I support this extension of period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Mbere. The Honorable Catherine Omanyo, Member for Busia County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Supporting, but I think it is not to do things haphazardly or in a hurry, because many times we have got ourselves in a quagmire because somebody somewhere pushed for something to go through and they never looked into the future generations to come. So the committee should be given ample time to come up with something tangible that will hold waters for a long time, even way after we are dead and gone. So anytime we mention NGCDF, we should be mentioning GAF at the same time, because it goes in tandem. Thank you.
Very well, Honorable Member. I see a point of order by the Honorable Rebecca Tonkey, Member for Narok.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, standing order number 95, considering the mood of the House, would I be in order to request you, Madam Speaker, to let the mover of the motion to reply? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I would like to establish that whether it is the mood of the House, that I call upon the mover to reply. So I put the question, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So then I call upon the mover to reply.
Madam Speaker, I reply.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I therefore put the question that in furtherance of the resolutions of the House of 24th November 2022 on the establishment of a joint parliamentary ad hoc committee on a proposal to amend the Constitution to entrench certain specialized funds, NGCDF, Senate Oversight Fund, and NGAF. This House therefore resolves to extend the timelines of the consideration of the proposal by a period of 90 days from Tuesday, 11th April 2022. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, procedural motion, extension of period of consideration of a nominee for appointment to a public office.
Chairperson. Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion that pursuant to the provision of Section 13 of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approval Act of 2021 relating to the extension of period of consideration of nominees for appointment to a public office, this House resolved to extend the period for consideration of the nominee submitted by His Excellency the President for appointment as a member of the National Gender and Equality Commission by a period of 10 days from 5th of April, for 10 days from 5th of April 2023. Honorable Speaker, The reason as to why is that the House will be on a recess, and even as a matter of, even if we have finished vetting, we cannot be able to table the report because the House will be on a recess, and that's why we have asked for an extension of time. I'll call upon Honorable Kawanjiko from Kiambaa constituency to second the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Kiambaa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Considering that we are going on recess, I think it's also paramount for us to be considerate of time, and I therefore second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kiambaa. Honorable members, I propose the question that pursuant to provisions of Section 13 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011 relating to extension of period of consideration of nominee for appointment to a public office, this House resolves to extend the period for consideration of the nominee submitted by His Excellency the President for appointment as member of the National Gender and Equality Commission by a period of 10 days from 5th April 2023. Honorable members, is it the mood of the House that I put the question? Honorable members, I therefore put the question that pursuant to provisions of Article 13 of Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, relating to extension of period of consideration of nominee for appointment to a public office. This House resolves to extend the period of consideration of the nominee submitted by His Excellency the President for appointment as member of the National Gender and Equality Commission by a period of 10 days from the 5th of April 2023. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, approval of nominees to 2 National Government Constituency Development Fund committees.
Chairperson, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the National Government Constituency Development Fund on 2 constituencies committee laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 21st March, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015 and paragraph 5(2) and 10, 5(2) and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations 2016 approves the list of the nominees for appointment to the following 2 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. 1, Samburu East Constituency, and the names are as in the order paper. Then Kandara Constituency, which is also the names are on the order paper. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the members who have these are the last 2 constituencies which we are moving and passing because they have brought their names, and we are ready. And we want to ask them to do their good work in their various constituencies because it is their responsibilities with the committee which is there.
The Honorable Majority Leader, what is out of order?
Honorable Speaker, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt the chair of the NGCDF committee who is doing a very good job. But Honorable Speaker, when I look around the House, I do not see the members for Samburu East, and I also do not see the member for Kandara constituency. Honorable Speaker, from the 11th and 12th Parliament, at least the 2 houses have been, it has been a tradition that when we are approving these names of constituency CDF committee members, the member of the particular constituency be in the House before we approve the names that relate to their constituency, because they are the ones who are involved in the public participation and the approval process right at the sub-county level of these names. Therefore, request, Honorable Speaker, that we drop this particular motion until such a time that the two members will be present in the House. And also, Honorable Speaker, because we cannot be slaving for people, and they are not even in the House. And you know, we are all sent here by the people of our constituencies to represent them. Therefore, if the member for Kikuyu is not in the House, the business of the people of Kikuyu should pause until the member of Kikuyu comes back. Therefore, I wish to request you, Honorable Speaker, to indulge me and we drop this motion until such a time that the two members shall be in the House. And if you notice, Honorable Speaker, the member for Samburu East is actually a replacement. Therefore, it would be dangerous to even be replacing a member when the member is not there to appraise the House of why there is a replacement. The member for Kandara to tell us whether these are the people who are actually elected and nominated at the sub-county level, and therefore beg that we drop this particular motion until such a time when the two members are in the House. And it also encourages members, Honorable Speaker, to be present in the business of the House. If we get into the custom of approving things that relate to a member and the member is not in the House, then no member has any business being in the House. Unlike Professor Nyikal, who is always in the House, or the member for Homa Bay constituency, or the Honorable Udo and Honorable Agnes Pareyo, who are always in the House, the member for Kajiado Central, and of course the member for Kikuyu and the member for... and member for Thika and member for the Honorable Tandaza, and the member for county member for Busia. Honorable Speaker, because it is good, you know, when you are here, Honorable Speaker, you are also being accountable to your constituents. And when you are serving in a risky position like mine, it is also good to be seen, to be here, and to be heard. You know, Honorable Speaker, on Tuesday, I was here the whole day up to the time the House rose in the evening. And Honorable Speaker, I have this afternoon seen Mr. Raila Odinga purporting that I was in a meeting somewhere with the Deputy President and the member for Kiharu. And you know, it is allowed to have hallucinations at some age, Honorable Speaker, but please don't hallucinate with me. And I want to request the former Prime Minister, as much as he may have hallucinations, please don't hallucinate with me. I was in the House up to the time the House rose. When I went home, my 3-year-old daughter, who sleeps late like me, Honorable Speaker, we slept around the same time. Actually, I dozed off holding on to my 3-year-old daughter, Honorable Speaker. Point. And I will send Mr. Odinga and the people that he was with at that press conference to my 3-year-old daughter to just inform him where I was on that particular Tuesday.
Majority
and
Leader.
seize the hallucinations.
Honorable members, there are so many points of order, but there is a very important matter that has been raised by the majority leader on this subject. Well, the Honorable Nyikal on my left and...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker. First of all, my point of order is...
What is out of order, first of all?
What
Honorable
out of
Nyikal?
order, Madam Speaker, is mentioning people's names who are not in the House, and in a negative way. And yesterday, your counterpart, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Farah, said that is out of order. I think he mentioned Order 87. You can exactly say what they did, but you cannot go on to say somebody is having hallucinations, because that's not a fact. You can say he said this, he said that, but you can't proceed to make those. So I think, Madam Speaker, I respect the member very much, the leader of a majority, but we must remember that we have leaders and people respect their leaders. And when you mention leaders negatively, you raise unnecessary tension in the House, and therefore you defeat the purpose of the debate. So with that, I'm still asking, he is out of order, and actually he should withdraw that statement. But what he has raised, I support, and is important. But he is out of order in the contribution he made.
Very well, Honorable Member for Seme. Honorable members, I would like you to desist from mentioning individuals negatively in your debate. Majority Leader, I would like to give you a chance to clarify on that matter, and if you did not mean it, then you may wish to withdraw, especially on the part of hallucinations.
You know, Honorable Speaker, and the Honorable Nyikal knows because he has been in government. Standing Order 87.3 says that shall be out of order to use offensive or insulting language, whether in respect of members of the House or other persons. It doesn't even say other persons who are not in the House. It is any other person. And that's why, Honorable Speaker, I am very cautious what I say and how I say it. And I said it is normal at a certain age to have hallucinations. Therefore, if it is normal, and the Honorable Dr. Nyikal is a medical doctor of repute, he knows it is actually proven medically that it is normal to have hallucinations at a certain age. And therefore, if somebody out there has hallucinations about me being present somewhere that I am not, or organizing things that I may have not organized, Honorable Speaker, and for instance, I could not say that Honorable Nyikal has, I could expressly state that Honorable Nyikal has hallucinations. But if I say someone of the age of the Honorable Nyikal is likely to have hallucinations, those are two different issues, Honorable Speaker. And that is all I stated, Honorable Speaker.
The honorable members, if you say point of order, and I cannot see your name on the intervention. The Honorable Kaluma, member for Oma Bay Town.
Yeah, I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, when you make a ruling as the Speaker, we should be led in respecting it, beginning by the Majority Leader. And I think our good friend, the Majority Leader, is forgetting himself at times. But Majority Leader, you are the leader of this entire House. And by the way, you are the 4th in government ranking. So when a side of the House requests you show respect, whether you hate our leadership to whatever extent. In fact, I think you are the one of us who are hallucinating over Raila and Uhuru. Withdraw it so that with dignity, Parliament can transact business. Because when you do so, we go into relevant things and we distract the House's business. I would request, Honorable Speaker, that when you make a ruling like that, there is either an unequivocal apology or a withdrawal so that we move as a unit under the leadership of the Majority Leader in the House.
Honorable members, I do not wish to continue with these points of order because we will not be able to transact the business that we are transacting. And I would like to request you, honorable members, to be led by our standing orders, number 87.3. It shall be out of order to use offensive or insulting language, whether in respect of members of the House or other persons. Honorable members, the guidance that I would like to give you is that let us proceed without using offensive and insulting language, because we are not going to transact business that has brought us to this honorable August House. Honorable members, allow me now to go back to the matter that was raised by the Majority Leader concerning the procedural motion, number 9, on extension of motion of consideration. Honorable members, I withdraw that and raise that it is odd motion number 10 on approval of nominees to 2 National Government Constituency Development Fund Committees. Honorable members, I know that you really want to contribute to this, but I would like to guide this way, that indeed it has been practiced. We have perused documents, and it has been practiced that the constituencies, especially when it concerns members of NGCDF, cannot be discussed when members of those particular constituencies are not in the House. So, honorable members, I order that that business is dropped. It will be scheduled again by the House Business Committee. Let's proceed. Next order.
Order number 11, motion, reports of the 144th and 145th assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU.
Thank you very much. Honorable Tonke, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House notes the reports of the 144 and 145 assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 7th March 2023, and Thursday, 2nd March 2023, respectively. Honorable Speaker, the 144th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, took place from 20th to 24th March 2022 at the Bali International Convention Center in Nusa Dua, Indonesia. The theme of the general debate at the 144 Assembly was getting to zero, mobilizing parliaments to act on climate change. Honorable Speaker, the IPU is domiciled in the Senate, and the Kenyan delegation to the 144th Assembly meeting comprised of the following: